Hello, what's going on? How's everybody doing? Hope your start of your work week has not been too stressful. Hope shopping for the holidays hasn't been stressing you out too much. I guess it's easier now that you don't have to go to the shops, or at least I hope you're not going to the shops. Don't go out there. Don't spread the plague. Shopping online, I guess, is easier, less stressful. But I mean, I don't know about you, but shopping for me for the holidays is stressful. Actually, it's people I don't know that well. If I have to buy gifts for people I don't know that well, it stresses me the fuck out. I lose sleep. So let's not talk about that anymore. Let's talk about today's show, which is less stressful and more fun, right? That's what we're all here to do. Have fun, right? Today's show is all about football. There's not really anything else to talk about. Like I've said before, the NBA is about to start up here in a couple weeks. So hopefully we can start talking about that in detail more. And hopefully the MLB will make some moves that we can talk about and kick around, because that's what we like to do as sports fans, right? Kick around the bullshit and have fun, be armchair GMs and whatnot. And if the NHL would ever get its fucking act together, we could talk about hockey, but it just will not happen. Please, NHL, I'm begging you. Come on, I need some hockey back in my life. Yeah, but, it's all about football. We cover all the games, get into a little bit of arguing. So, we're back to our regularly scheduled programming, and it is quite the fun show. So let's start the show.
Monday night's the only one that's like, come on, man.
I should hold my phone up to my eye and get eyeball.
You probably already have it, bro.
Fuck you. All right, welcome to this episode of Stone Sports. I am your host, Bert. With me, I have my co-host, Double. Say what up, Dubs. And my co-host, Meech. Say what up, Meech.
What up? I'm a little shocked you didn't go with like 15 nicknames this episode, man. What the hell?
I mean, you can't, overdo it. It's got to count when you do it. And if you overdo it, it doesn't mean anything anymore. It becomes meaningless. Have you guys played I've been meaning to ask you this. Have you played the holiday event on Apex?
Nope.
The train shit?
Haven't touched it.
It's pretty fucking lit, dude.
I've played it
better
before.
than the Battle Royale game mode. I think it's dope.
I played it last year.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was new or not. I didn't really play Apex last Christmas, so.
Nah, they recycled that crap. It's a fun game mode, but I mean I haven't picked that game up since we've been playing Call of Duty Cold War, so.
Agreed.
All right, that's enough. Let's get to the sports. It's really just all football today, boys. So I guess we can discuss the games that have happened.
Although I did just see a breaking news article from ESPN.
Uh-oh. About
Floyd
what?
Mayweather Jr. announces he will fight YouTuber Logan Paul scheduled for February 2021. They are trying to cash in on this.
Yeah, they are.
Jesus.
Yeah.
And that's the other one. That's not even the one that just knocked out.
Oh, it's not?
That's the other one.
Straight.
No, Logan's the same one.
Is it?
No, it's not.
Talk amongst yourselves. Well, I'll keep talking. Meech, you fact check that for us. So like I said, it's really just football to talk about today. So I guess the game plan for the show is we'll just talk about the games that have happened and the games that will happen in the future.
Oh, I was wrong.
Nate Robinson just lost to Jake Paul, and now his brother just signed to fight Mayweather.
Jesus, these fucking clowns.
They are clowns.
I hope only bad things happen to these guys, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just going to get a bag, get their ass kicked, and get out of there.
I love the beauty of that sentence, Meech. I hope nothing but bad things happen to these people.
Yeah, in all reality. I wish one of them would fight Tyson. Tyson might kill one of them, dude.
Yeah, he's old as shit now, but he still looks good. But
he held back in the fucking fight he just had. He was trying not to kill the other guy. But if it's a Paul brother, if it's a Paul brother, he might be swinging for the fences, bro.
Truth be told,
we know Floyd's just gonna dance around for fucking 3 rounds.
Yeah, that's what Floyd does, bro. That's what Floyd does.
Exactly.
Shout out Mike Tyson, just coming into his post-fight interview or whatever. He's like, "Yeah, I was pretty high."
That dude smokes so much weed, man. It's ridiculous. Have you ever watched his cartoon show, the Mike Tyson Mysteries or whatever?
That liked it, though.
Man, it's fucking bizarre. There's like a fucking crackhead pigeon that like smokes cigarettes. It's a really bizarre show. You should definitely check it out. It's pretty fucking funny. But anyway, let's get back on track, which seems to be the running theme of this show, and get to the football. How about that New Orleans Atlanta game? I didn't watch the whole game. I watched probably the second half of the game.
I watched the second quarter and the fourth quarter mostly of that game. New Orleans picked up the win 21-16. Atlanta was driving at the end, but it wasn't quite enough.
Yeah.
Taysom Hill looks pretty good, 27 for 37, 232 yards, 2 touchdowns. He also carried the ball 14 times for 83. But like me and Meech were talking about it before, one play he looks phenomenal, and then the next play you're like, what the fuck was that? Like he overthrew a receiver by 10 yards in the end zone, and then the next play he had like hit 2 quick darts to people to get a first down.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. He definitely seems to have these plays where it's just like he looks like he could be a starting quarterback 1 minute, and then the next minute you're like, what was that? Why is Sean Payton in love with this man?
Is there any update on the Drew Brees injury, like when he's going to come back or if he's coming back?
I haven't heard anything specifically, but I'm guessing it's probably going to be relatively soon.
Yeah, right? It's got to be, because it's been a couple weeks, and, to my knowledge, it doesn't take that long for it to heal. But I get it. It's your quarterback. You want to be careful. I just didn't know if there were
especially
any,
going into the
updates.
Playoffs. I mean, they already clinched today, so
they
might even just like coast for another couple games and then just throw him in like week 16 and 17 just to get some more.
Yeah, this thing says Shefty said he could be back as early as week 14, but like you guys said, they already clinched. There's no reason to bring him back too early. I mean, you might as well give him as much time as possible.
Yeah, I didn't know if like the NFL, because the NFL is really good about disclosing like injury reports and stuff. I guess for gambling.
All for gambling.
Right,
yes.
Exactly. It's for gambling. Actually.
Oh, I had one more thing on the Falcons.
Do it, baby.
I barely watched. I saw it on Red Zone when it was on. Like we talked about, I watch Red Zone most of the time.
Me too.
But I was thinking, will Raheem Morris get the Falcons job at the end of the year? Because the team has looked different since he's taken over.
Yeah, I was reading an article about that the other day, and I actually almost brought it up on the last show, and it was in my notes, and I just never got to it, probably because I couldn't read it.
Probably a mistaken case of handwriting there, but
yeah.
Again, but you typed the notes up last week, didn't you? I thought that was your big thing.
No, I was going to, and then you guys were like, well, let's go take away your, not being able to read your shit. And I was like, you know what? Fuck you guys. And I did it anyway. And I wrote them down again.
Oh, okay. All right. That's cool, I guess. So how about the Cleveland-Tennessee game? What'd you think about that, Meech?
It was good. Baker came out gunning it. They had good weather, and you saw Kevin Stefanski and Baker just unleash the throwing game. I mean, also had some runs, but the Titans just confused the shit out of me. They'll beat the Colts one week, and then they can't beat the Browns the next week. And I just don't know how to feel. I don't know if the Browns are just better than we're giving them credit for, which I think they are. I do think they are a better team than we are giving them credit for.
I'm on that side of the fence with you.
Okay. Yeah, so the Browns seem to, I think, are a better team than we really all give them credit for. But they had actually good weather, and you saw Baker air it out. I brought it up on last week's podcast. Like, Baker's still a good quarterback, and like I think he's not new anymore, so like people forgot about him. He did really well his rookie year. He's had some inconsistencies. If they can keep Kevin Stefanski there, and they can kind of work together a little bit more, I think he's only going to get better. He seems to have a good head for running the ball versus throwing it, and when it's not working, he'll take the pressure off by just running it off of Baker. So meanwhile, the Titans, I mean, I don't know what the fuck to think about the Titans. I mean, just when you think you have them figured out, they prove you wrong.
Derrick Henry, like, it felt like every single time he went to go carry it up the middle, there was a Browns player hitting him in the backfield. Like, the Browns only had 2 sacks, I think, but the amount that their defensive line and linebackers were in the backfield on Henry and Tannehill was a little ridiculous. But despite that, Tannehill is able to give Corey Davis a career day with 11 catches, 182 yards, and a touchdown. On the other side, Nick Chubb had 18 carries, 80 yards, and a touchdown, which, to add to your point, Meech, it makes Baker's job easier when you have a run game as potent as Cleveland does, because it takes the pressure off.
Yeah, and you have 2 running backs, too, so you're not even
Hunt
forced
looked like dog shit today, though.
Yeah, I mean he definitely is not as good as Chubb. I mean, I would still take him on the Eagles. It seems like I go on a recruiting trip every week, but he's definitely not as good as Chubb. But I think having him in the backfield is really does open up your options. He doesn't always play great, but he has been pretty solid this season.
Yeah, Tennessee was 2 for 10 on third down too, which that you're not going to win a game when that's the case.
No, you can't. If you're not converting third downs, you're in trouble.
And that's the first game we got wrong this week, Mitch.
Yeah, and you know what? I almost took the Browns. First of all, I almost betted on the Browns, and then I almost took them for my pick this week. I did neither of the two, and now I'm going to have to live with that decision, man.
Yeah, you are.
I have to live with my loss with the Bears as well.
Yeah, which
Yes, you
brings me to
are,
the next
sir.
game, the Lions and the Bears. And so you picked the Bears last week or last
Yeah,
show?
because I told you I needed them to show
Oh,
up for
right.
me in
And
fantasy.
what did I say to you? What did I say to you? I mean,
You told me that
don't
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And that was the case. They did go off for me in fantasy. They got the job done for me in that regards, but they couldn't get the job done for themselves. Mitch Trubisky did not look terrible, though. 26 for 34, 267 and a touchdown. David Montgomery added 2 touchdowns to that. And on the other side, Matt Stafford was fucking electric. 27 for 42, 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. They snapped a 5-game losing streak against the Bears with the win today. And it was a comeback win. I thought the Bears were going to win that one.
Yeah, me too.
All of a sudden, I looked up and it's like 30-30.
Yeah, because they had like
whatever the
a
fuck it
10-point
was.
lead at like going into the
Yeah.
fourth, I think, and then they just gave it up.
30-27, I think I looked up, and I was like, oh no. Oh no.
Yeah, I mean it was a good game, or it wasn't really a good game, but it was a better game than we all thought it would be. I think you can't say that it wasn't.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it.
The comeback for sure, though. Stafford looked good again. He always has to throw an interception. That always has to be on the stat line. It seems like he can never have a clean game, but yeah, no, he led them to a comeback. I mean, I called it. I thought the Lions would pull this game out. Trubisky looked better than advertised, though, better than he has his past few appearances. For sure.
I heard this morning on some show I was watching that Trubisky in the games he's played this season has been a top 10 fantasy quarterback in every single game, which is a shocking stat to say the least, because everyone thinks of Mitch as being like Danny Dimes, just incompetent, turning the ball over, can't get the job done, but
A perpetual
been
sad
pretty-
boy.
right, perpetually sad, but he's actually been pretty decent this year when he has had the chance. But once again, the Bears just can't get it done, and when they start 5-1 and now they're 5-7, like their season's done.
Yeah, that's a team on the way down for sure, dude.
I saw a article the other day. Somebody was saying Joe Brady is who the Lions should go after to be the new head coach. What do you think about that, Mitch?
Yeah, I mean, you've heard different reports. You've heard reports of Brady. You've also heard reports of Saleh, the DC for the 49ers. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what they did. They did just come from a defensive coach in Patricia. Usually you go the opposite way. So, I mean, Brady would make sense. He is relatively green. I mean, he was at LSU. Before that, he was in the NFL, but then he went to LSU. He's back in the NFL at Carolina now.
But without their best weapon, he still had that offense clicking. Like Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore are top 10 in receiving this year with Teddy Bridgewater at quarterback. They're not,
but Teddy Bridgewater's actually a good quarterback.
No, he is.
Well.
They are. All of those players are good. They're just not the most flashy names, and it might make Brady's, what do you call it, resume look a little bit better.
Yeah. I mean, like I said before, though, with them, I feel like they really focused. They really got better after CMC went out because they overutilized him and they didn't need to. So, I mean, there's that too.
All right, well, how about we move on to the Cincinnati and Miami game? That was,
Chippy
start us off on this one. Yeah,
it was Chippy, to say the least. 5 players ejected in what you don't think of as a rivalry game, but it got pretty chippy. I thought I was watching the NFC or the AFC East for a second there.
Yeah, that fight was ridiculous.
Not NFC. I'm sorry.
Who
AFC.
started it?
So it was a hit that really, I mean, like, okay, it was not a clean hit in the sense of like by the rules, but it wasn't like a horrible hit or anything. It's not.
It
like,
wasn't egregious.
Exactly. It wasn't like, I'm famous for when I played sports. Like, if you fucked with my team, like, I'm going out like fist swinging. And I wouldn't have swung on that one. I'd have been like, take your fucking lick and move on, bro. But, like, all I know is the hit happened, and then someone from the Dolphins started throwing punches, and, then you just have what you have.
Was it Howard?
Yes,
I think
Tyler Boyd and Xavier Howard got into it, but I don't even think it was that egregious. I honestly think they could have gotten away with warnings and said, "Listen, if you do it again, you're out of the game." But those are both huge players for their teams, and I thought to kick them out of the game was a little bit premature, given that not too much had happened. You could have called a 15-yard penalty.
And Boyd had a 72-yard touchdown not long before that happened.
I mean, Tyler Boyd, you want to talk about low-key great wide receivers.
I tweeted it today. He's fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, no, he's been phenomenal for the past few years. I mean,
since that first season AJ Green got hurt, he's showed up and he's been their number one since.
Yeah, he finds a way to deal with these quarterbacks.
Brandon Allen and what's the other one? Ryan Finley.
Yeah. He looked great with Burrow throwing him the ball. But he's dealt with so many quarterbacks. But yeah, Tyler Boyd is one of the top, probably like 20 wide receivers in the league for sure.
Yeah, I feel like him and Tyler Lockett are really comparable.
I would say Boyd's more consistent. I think.
Yeah, definitely. I'd agree.
I think Lockett has bigger booms.
When you see them at when they're both playing really well, they seem similar to me. I don't know why.
And no, they're about. A little bit different play styles. I think Boyd's a little bit bigger than Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett's probably quicker.
When Boyd gets to that outside, though, when he gets to the sideline, turns into a different fucking gear.
Yeah, well, and he makes guys miss all the time. But yeah, two huge people ejected right off the bat that I thought that was a little soon to throw the hook.
Oh no, it's definitely too far. Like, I don't think they needed to do that at that point at all.
Yeah, and then the later scrap, you had Mac Hollins, Devontae Parker, and Sean Williams get ejected. That was based on a hit on Jakeem Grant.
Yeah, that's the one that I was talking about. Like that.
Yeah, that's the one you were talking about.
Like, I get he threw punches. I get why he gets ejected because I understand the refs have to keep control of the game. But it's a violent sport, so shit like that's gonna happen. I don't know. Maybe that's just my hockey background being like, you need to chill the fuck out.
Well, let's talk about the worst thing that happened in this game. 11.5 point spread. Bengals lost by 12, killing every bettor that bet on them.
Yeah.
And I cried a little bit there because I could have won big money today, and I only kind of won big money today. So a couple bets paid off, but that one didn't. And I think a lot. I looked at that spread, and anytime I see a spread that big, I'm like, So I looked at it like throughout the whole week and was looking at it, and I was like, I'm gonna do it. And then I also put a teaser on on that game paired with the Jag, so that gave them more points. But yeah, so I ended up hedging my bets there. But God, to lose 11.5 and they lose by 12, that's great bookmaking by Vegas. I'll tell you what.
I thought you were a big spread specialist, Meech.
I'm a novice when it comes to gambling.
Hey-o. Gotcha.
I'm a novice when it comes to gambling anyway. But I'm starting to dip my toe in, starting to spend more money. Well, not spend. I'm actually up right now. But yeah, so that was cringy because you thought that the Bengals could get a field goal to get within the 12 points, and they didn't. So that was really the most egregious thing of all time. But my Jaguars, going into the next game, the Jaguars of the Vikings, the Jaguars did cover that spread of 10.5.
Yeah, Glennon went 28 of 42 with a touchdown and 2 picks. Robinson, 18 carries, 78 yards, and a touchdown. The defense came through with 4 sacks. Like you said, they were still able to cover the spread and only lost by 3 in overtime despite 4 turnovers. So it really wasn't Minnesota's best outing, despite Kirk Cousins playing well again and Dalvin Cook. Like, the offense played well. The defense could have done more besides the turnovers. Like, they gave up too many yards.
It's funny because you look at that line, you see 4 turnovers. Glennon also had a fumble.
Yeah.
And you look at that line and you think, okay, and then you look at Cook's numbers and Cousins' numbers, and you think, how the fuck did they lose? Like, how did they make this a close game? Like, that should have been a blowout for them. How they didn't
It
lose,
shouldn't have gone to overtime.
but it was close.
Yeah, it should not have gone to overtime, and it did.
Yep, it did.
Yeah, Dan Bailey missed another kick, and I thought he was doing worse.
I was
in Minnesota.
literally about to bring that up, dude.
I feel like he hit everything when he was with Dallas. He hasn't been as bad as I thought he was with Minnesota. I just think every time they have a primetime game or a game that like is the focus of everything, he misses.
Yeah,
So like
that's true as fuck.
it's like I the numbers weren't as bad as I thought they were. Now 40 to 49, I think he's missed like 8 over the last 3 years, which like I said, that's not as bad as I thought it was. But it seems like I always see it happen when it happens. Like he always misses. And I don't know if it's just because they had such, turnover at kicker that one year they brought him in. With I believe Carlson was their kicker at first, but Zimmer went through like 3 kickers that year, and they ended up bringing
Walsh.
Yeah.
Game.
And yeah, Zimmer was like not happy with any of them. Then they finally settled on Bailey, and I was just thinking, oh god, that's gonna make them great. He killed us when he was in Dallas, and I just like I said, his numbers aren't horrible, but he's definitely not as good as he was in Dallas, and it seems like he always misses them when everyone's watching.
Dan Bailey's
think it was
a fun
him.
name for the soccer commentator voice.
Dan Bailey.
Dan Bailey. He's going to have a go. I think I saw a stat during that game. I think it was him that he's missed like 2 out of 3 from like 50 plus. So
anything over 30, it seems like he has a bigger pro, or 39. He had his 40 to 48 were the most he's missed in the last 3 years.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not
No,
good.
I mean that's you
Those
want
are the
your
kicks
kicker
you
to be
need
good
make,
there.
Yeah, exactly. Those are kicks you need to make for sure.
I also thought that I posted on Twitter too, and I said, which team wants Sam Darnold the worst? Because the Jags are starting Mike Glennon, and God, if they started Minshew, they might have won this game. I mean, honestly.
Oh, they 100% would have won that
They
game.
might have won this game.
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, Minshew doesn't not do turnovers. Like, he still produces turnovers, but not at the
Not
rate
like
that
Mike
Glennon does. Yeah, and so I was just it befuddles me.
And like you said last week, we get that extra moxie when we got Minshew in there.
Dude, yeah, I don't know what the end game is. Like, are they trading him at the end of the year? I don't know. I haven't seen any reports on it, but I'm just like, why are they not playing him? And how is this not like against the rules of the league? Like, how is this not tanking very transparently?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And it's like, it was interesting today too, because like, with the Jets and everything, they're like neck and neck for the pick. But
dude, the Jets ran cover 0 on the Henry Ruggs touchdown. If that's not
they
tanking,
did.
If that's not taking,
right. But I gotta real quick before we move on to the rest of this, recap here. I gotta call you out, Meech. You were giving me shit last night when we were playing NHL for saying buffoon, and this motherfucker just said befuddled.
he also said druthers a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I'm an old man. I don't say that I'm not an old man, bud.
He did say druthers. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I'm like an.
We also had a whole
man.
conversation about knickerbockers. Like,
yeah, but that was related to the Knicks, so that's like
true.
That's fair game. That was related to the Knicks. That came out of a Knicks conversation. All right, so how about the Colts Texans game, Meech?
Yeah, this was a great game. It ended up being just really fun to watch, really entertaining. Between this and the last game we just talked about, the Jags Vikings, those were the 2 games I watched the most of this today. And it's probably because there was more action. They were on Red Zone, but I also had a personal interest in the Jags Vikings game, which is probably why, a betting interest in that one, which is probably why. But this game was the best game today. I mean, it was the Texans, it was the Colts going back and forth, and it ended up being the best game of the day. Like I said, the best game of the weekend.
Watson's turnover-less streak ended. He had an interception and a fumble today. 26 for 38, 341 yards, no touchdowns, but he did have one on the ground. Kiki Kuti, 8 catches, 141 yards for the Texans. He was Watson's favorite target today.
And you always wonder when he's going to make an appearance because, like we talked about last week, Fuller always goes out.
All it took was Fuller getting popped.
Yeah, I mean, usually you see him emerge on the fantasy waiver wires right around week 6, 5. Whenever Fuller usually gets hurt, it lasted longer this time, but Kiki Kuti always emerges.
He's one of the guys that just kills you in Madden too.
All right,
but Watson got sacked
Neville.
5 times today. The 2 turnovers, it was enough for Indy to capitalize on. T.Y. Hilton showed up again, 8 catches, 110 yards, and a touchdown. In his last 2 games, he's got 12 catches for $191 and 2 touchdowns. Jonathan Taylor reemerged today. So the last couple of weeks, Indy's offense has been clicking, and they've got a couple wins here to show for it.
Wow.
Yep.
Double. You just rattled that shit off, bro. I see a career in your future of being one of those guys that like reads the end of the like advertisement really fast.
I had to do that once for a project in high school. PSA announcement, like record it and shit. It was dumb.
Yeah, sounds dumb. So, speaking of dumb, and also we were talking earlier about the Jets tanking. How about the Raiders-Jets game? That was like way closer.
Close.
Yeah, exactly. I
Close.
kept looking at it and be like, what the fuck do you mean this is the score?
Darren Waller just willed my fantasy team to a victory today with the 13 catches, 200 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He also willed the Raiders to victory. If he needed all 200 of those yards.
Yeah, it's funny because Devin Booker has success when Josh Jacobs is there, but he didn't look great today.
Devin plays basketball.
Whatever. Whoever. Booker. The runner.
Nomar Marzania, I think was his name.
Yeah, I don't fucking pronounce any of these names right, and I don't pretend to. I just know that Booker has looked good when Jacobs is there, not so good when Jacobs is not there. So, I mean, you're right. They won because of Darren Waller.
Literally no other reason.
Yeah, and the Colts, not the Colts, I'm sorry. I had a seizure. The Raiders and the Titans kind of remind me of the same team in the same way that the Dolphins and the Giants remind me. Like, they're very similar teams.
I can see that.
So, like, the Raiders and the Titans, I just can't. I don't know. I literally don't know on a week in, week out basis. Everyone was talking about the what happened last year between the Raiders and the Jets. And I just thought that was crazy to even think about that happening. And it did. And you're just like, what the actual fuck, Raiders? It's just the Raiders and the Titans are the 2 most mystery teams. These guys were super competitive against the best team in the NFL and then almost lost to the worst team in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, you have that in sports
teams
all the time. Like, it happens in all sorts of different sports. You know, like the Capitals are way better than the Rangers, but the Rangers just always beat the Capitals. Like, it just always happens. So, like, I don't know. There's something weird that it's some mystical fucking.
But I feel like
it's okay though, because their fans will beat down your soul on a regular basis.
Dude,
I don't know how many times we were talking nothing about hockey. This man just yells out, "God, I hate Capitals fans."
Dude, I saw this thing today where they were like, you know, the NHL posts this thing that's like Wayne Gretzky scored, you know, first to 700 goals in 700 games or something. It's like some low number like that. And then the number 2 is Alex Ovechkin. He's at like 1,100 games to score 700 goals. And they're all like, well, if it wasn't for lockouts, he'd beat Gretzky. It's like, man, like, I fucking hate you. Like, shut the fuck up. That's right, I said it. And I'm in Capitals territory. Come fight me. Anyway.
And this was your hockey minute with Bertle B. Macklin.
Yeah, there'll
almost
be more
like
to come.
Double's insistence that Gronk is better than Tony Gonzalez.
We're not
it's just fucking wrong, but he's a fucking Pats fan who's a clown.
You want to know what's wrong? Your fucking Chargers pick. 35-0, bitch.
That was real bad. And you know what? I even said at the time, I don't know why I think they'll do all right in this game because Bill Belichick is dominant.
Laying the fucking pipe down on the air bear is what Bill Belichick's doing.
Yeah, Sad Boy Face 101 is
deer in headlights.
Yeah, you want to talk about that game?
I mean, there's not much to talk about.
Yeah, right. All right, so let's jump backwards a little bit and talk about the Giants-Seahawks game. But before we really get into the in-game analysis, I got a couple things I got to talk about with the Giants-Seahawks game. So one, I saw an article today, New York Post article, headline, Giants, Wayne Gallman, Eli Manning once farted in my face. That's the headline.
I could see that.
It's fucking ridiculous.
I don't even have a response or comment to that.
I know. When I saw
could
it today,
see it.
I literally sat there and stared at it for like 30 seconds, and I was like, is this really a New York Post headline right now? It's ridiculous.
I mean,
Also,
whatever.
petition I'm starting. Henceforth, he shall be known as the gallbladder.
The gallbladder's fucking giving it to Seahawks.
The Giants, like I said, this is the other team comparison I had earlier, dude.
Colt
The
McCoy,
Giants and the Dolphins are just eerily similar to me as well. Like they both play harder than they should be. They're the opposite of tanking, dude. Like those are the bad teams that used to be in the NFL, not this tanking bullshit. Like I don't know what the fuck happened, but yeah, the Giants 17-12 as of recording this.
They have Colt McCoy and Alfred Morris with touchdowns right now.
Yeah, I know.
What
Yeah,
fucking year
you
is
said
it?
Gallman's dominating, and he is. Except for on the goal line, they keep giving it to fucking Alfred Morris. It's a good thing I'm
Gallman's got a
eliminated from
buck
fantasy
40 right
playoffs.
now.
What's the score right now?
17-12 Giants.
Ooh, wow. Okay. Because in the beginning of the game, it looked like it was not going to go that way
The
necessarily.
Giants have the ball. The Seahawks are using their timeouts right now, but there's 2 minutes to go. And
All
they
right.
need the ball back.
So we'll come back to that game. How about what's going on in the Rams-Arizona game?
Rams lead 31-21 with the ball right now. Just over 6 minutes to go. Jared Goff has played really well.
Really? Because for the first half, that really was not the case.
Yeah, they got 3 receivers with 6+ receptions. Woods has 10 for 85. Goff is 37 for 46 with 350 yards and a touchdown so far.
And then you've also seen the Rams defense, which is why I picked the Rams this week, and you, I believe, picked the Cards, right? So that was should be wrong. But the Rams defenses look really good, and a great matchup to watch has been Ramsey versus Hopkins. In the first half, they didn't touch it, and then Arizona was like, yeah, we should probably start throwing. Hopkins had a big touchdown, and then has had a couple more receptions in the second half. But it's been a fun matchup to watch for sure. Ramsey v. Hopkins.
Yeah, I mean, we had Gilmore Hopkins last week. That was great, and it's basically round 2 this week with Ramsey and Hopkins, but shout out to DeAndre Hopkins. Those are 2 fucking brutal matchups in a row.
Oh my god! And those guys don't switch either. They stay on that guy.
Yeah, those are two of the only corners. Jesus Christ, I had a stroke. That can they just don't go anywhere. They're on the same receiver.
Did the Rams just score?
Game.
I think the Rams just scored. Did
If
they just
did,
score?
that game's over.
Not to my knowledge.
Let me check. Poo. That's the
No,
Usually
no, they got a field
check
goal.
before bringing that up.
Yeah.
The Rams just scored. Rams just scored.
Fuck
Yeah,
you.
Did they?
Wait, yeah, Rams just scored. Did Rams score?
Fuck
Why
you.
do you care? Your team's down 35.
Oh my God! Go fuck yourself.
You and
right
Sad
now.
Boy Air Bear
Go
is fucking
fuck
getting 38.
38
actually.
nothing.
Yeah, they just scored again. 38
This is not my team.
nothing.
For anyone listening to this show, this is not my team. I just want that to
Your
be clear.
team also losing.
Yeah, I hate to step on your toes a little bit here, Double, but I have a stat I need to throw out about this game. Now, don't get too hurt because it was a stat that was announced in the game, so it's not like I went and looked it up.
That's fair.
But they did mention early in the game that Wentz has had 10 consecutive games where he's been sacked more than 3 times, and he was sacked more than 3 times in the first fucking half of the game.
Yikes.
Excuse me. Let's talk about something that matters, because that clearly doesn't. The Eagles have Jalen Winston at quarterback, and he has thrown
Who's Jalen Wentz?
touchdown. Jalen Hurts. My bad. Jalen Hurts in at fucking quarterback. He has thrown a touchdown.
Is the Wentz era over?
I mean, I've always said that Hurts hasn't looked great. He has looked far better in this game than Wentz.
Small sample size, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I saw him come in. It was right when we hopped on air, so I haven't been keeping a huge eye on it. But I mean, for once, the scores actually.
Jalen Hurts 4 for 7, 92 and a touchdown. Wentz 6 for 15, 79 yards, no touchdowns, no picks.
Is the era over? What do you think? Like, really, what's your opinion?
It can't be. I mean, if it is, we are on the hook for so much money, which is why it's taken so long to make this fucking move. Because like
You're on
we've
the
talked
hook.
about before, Wentz is on the hook, on the cap for, I believe, 20 this year, 25 next year, and 20 the year after that. It's going to absolutely murder our franchise if we move on from him. That being said, if you have a guy, and I brought this up last week, if you have a guy and nothing's working, sometimes you just throw a new guy in there just to mix things up. Like I said, it's not all Wentz's fault last week, but maybe a new ingredient will change the way this team is playing because this is clearly not working. And furthermore, this is a winnable division. We could win this division. And so why not? So they have now gone to Hurts for more than just a few plays, and it seems to be working as of right now. 16-23, Green Bay's leading, but we'll keep an eye on that game.
Yeah, for sure. Do you guys want to move on to the preview and then hit these games on the way back?
Preview. Yeah, we can do
Yeah,
that.
we'll swing back
we can
around.
do that. So first game on the preview list here today is the Washington Football Club and Pittsburgh. I mean, I think that's an easy pick.
Agreed. I'm going to go with the Steelers, but here's why it's probably going to be closer than you think. Antonio Gibson, 3rd in rushing touchdowns this year, 9th in yards. He went off last week on Thanksgiving. He's averaging 90 yards per game in his last 5. And Pittsburgh is 8th against the run, however. And in Antonio Gibson's 3 games against top 10 run defense, he has not broken 50 yards in any of those meetings. But he's improved a lot. Those were all at the beginning of the season. And like I said, his last 5, he's been one of the best running backs in the league. So I think with Pittsburgh's injuries to Bud Dupree and Bush and that kind of thing, I think that the game is going to be a little bit closer than people think, but give me the Steelers.
Yeah, I mean, the game might be a little closer, but, you know,
And Pittsburgh's on short
WFC,
rest.
they'll choke. WFC will choke. It's what they do.
WFT.
No, it's WFC, bro. Washington Football Club. We're speaking it into existence.
You're right. You're
right.
right.
I know I'm right. Anyway, Meech, who are you picking in that game?
I mean, I'm obviously going Steelers. I actually don't think it's going to be that close. I know Washington has been a fighting team this year. I don't think that the Steelers are going to come out and play like they did against Baltimore. That was a division matchup. Divisional matchups are always a little bit closer, unless you're, the Raiders, Jets, which you're not in the division and it's way closer than it should be.
Unless you're anomaly in time and space.
That was a divisional matchup. I don't think they're going to play, despite being on a short week, despite another huge injury to that defense. I think that the Steelers are going to come out and whomp them. I think Tomlin sounded very disappointed by their performance, and so did Roethlisberger. They're going to look to put up some points, I think, against Washington.
You want to hear a fun stat?
Hell yeah.
Pittsburgh and Washington are ranked 1 and 2 in the NFL in passing defense and sacks per game. Which you wouldn't expect Washington to be up at the top in those things.
Yeah, we talked about that
before.
For
sacks.
With sacks, yeah, but the pass defense?
Yeah, for sure. That is a little
they
surprising.
Only give up 194 yards per game for the year.
And that actually could make the game closer. So
because they play in the NFC East, and that's what you guys are forgetting. They're getting that bump from all the teams they're playing.
They also have not won. They scored 40 points Thanksgiving week. They've never won the game after they scored 40 points.
Really?
Really.
Wow. That's crazy.
I saw that on Twitter last week.
All right, how about Buffalo and San Francisco? What's Buffalo's record right now?
Buffalo, 8-3.
8-3. Okay, because I remember they were doing real good in the beginning of the season, but I wasn't sure if they'd fallen off. I haven't been paying very close attention. I know you have. Josh
Allen struggled a little bit the last couple games. He got 3 picks on the last 2, and their passing offense has dropped from a fringe top 10 to 18th in the league. San Francisco is 5-6 this season and only 1 game back of the final wild card playoff in the NFC. Monday Night Football, Buffalo 0-3 since 2010. San Francisco 11-3.
Ooh, interesting.
And just because of that, I'm going with the Niners. They had a good game against the Rams last week.
They did, yeah.
Nick Mullen either does just enough to get the job done, or he's the reason they lose. But the last couple of weeks, it's looking more like the Niners from that went to the Super Bowl last year and not the Niners that we saw at the start of the season. Despite all
Right.
the injuries, they're starting to get back on track. And I'm going with the upset this week. I'm going to take the Niners.
All right.
home.
Well,
At home away from home.
a bold pick from Double this week. How about you, Mitch? Mitch. Oh my God, I called you Mitch. All right, Mitch. Good old
Who's
Mitch.
combining your two names?
Robert.
Meech
Robert.
and
I
bitch.
just came out. I just came up with a new nickname for Meech. Robert Meacham. I don't know if you know who Robert Meacham is. I might be showing my age there. Anyway, Meech, who you picking?
Yeah, let's move on from that.
Fuck
I'm gonna
off.
pick Buffalo, like a sane person. I mean, Double is not too far from. I mean, the betting line on this is crazy. It started out with Buffalo being -3. They're now -1. But I mean, I just don't.
That line's moving, Meech.
The line is moving, and yeah, I don't know why. They still have the same inactives. They still have all that stuff. They still have injuries. You said they look like the team they used to. I'm going to argue that they don't because they don't have their quarterback and they don't have their tight end. That being said, they have looked better. The Rams was a divisional game. Like I said, divisional games are messy sometimes, and I don't think that's going to happen again if they meet again. I can't remember if they played already or not.
Believe they already played.
Okay. Did they win both? They probably
I think
did.
they split.
Oh, did they? Okay.
I might be wrong on that.
I think
might
Shanahan
just
has
be
a good record
totally
against
making that
McVay,
up.
but I don't know that for sure. But yeah, no, I'm still going to take Buffalo. I
Yeah, they
think.
played both times already. 49ers won both. You were right.
Okay. So yeah, Shanahan has McVay's number apparently, but I don't think that they're going to beat the Buffalo Bills. It should be a closer game though than you would think looking at those two teams.
Nobody circles the wagon like the Buffalo Bills.
Hey-o.
Oh, a little bit of poetry from my boy Dubs. All right.
Gunnar Olszewski, second touchdown of the game. The Patriots are dropping the dick on the Chargers.
Yeah, I mean, it was like that from
because this is an absolute ravaging.
Yeah, I mean, it was like that from jump too, bro. Like from the start of the game, it was just like, oh, it's gonna be like this, bro.
Am I on Pornhub or Hulu?
Oh man, that stopped me in my tracks. That was a good joke. Nice
Yeah.
one, bro. So that's I guess the Buffalo San Francisco game will be the swing game this episode. How unless you're differing on Dallas and Baltimore, who you taking, Meech?
I don't believe we would. I'm going to take Baltimore. They looked solid against the Steelers, even without a quarterback. Although you could argue that Trace McSorley should be this team's quarterback, but and I'm sure Hollywood Brown would be right there with you. Yeah, I'm going to take Baltimore over Dallas. I don't expect much from Dallas.
Yeah, I think that's a safe
Zach-
pick. What about you, Dubs?
Zach Martin's actually out again this week. So we talked about that last game. When he's out, they just don't. They look like a different team.
Right.
I'm gonna go with Baltimore too, despite them being 1-4 in their last 5. Dallas has lost 5 of 6. That one being to the Vikings a couple weeks ago. They allow 32.5 points per game, which is the worst in the league. And Dallas quarterbacks, since Dak has left, have combined for 6 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and have not had a game over 300 yards in those 6 games. CeeDee Lamb only has 217 yards, which is like he started off looking like a rookie of the year with Dak out there, and since he hasn't broken 50 yards in a game. Baltimore still have 10 people on the COVID list, including Mark Andrews, their top pass catcher. Lamar Jackson may not be ready to go for this weekend, and it's really a must-win game for them. They're on the outside looking in on the AFC playoff picture, and they basically need to win out to get a playoff spot. So I'm going to take Baltimore, must-win situation against an inferior opponent. I'm with you, Meech. This is an easy one.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's an easy one too. But you've thrown some curveballs recently, so I didn't know if you'd differ there. So we got the swing game, and looks like the Seahawks-Giants game is about to end here.
It just wrapped up, and the Giants have won.
Yeah, that's a surprise to me. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but to me, that's surprising.
I jokingly said they were going to win a bet like fucking Daniel Jones was out, but as I said jokingly, I picked the Seahawks. I didn't think it'd actually fucking happen.
Yeah.
It'd be a close game. I thought Seattle would win. And,
Me too.
That's a huge loss for the Seahawks. And I believe that puts the Giants in first place in the NFC East.
It sure as fuck does. Michelle. You're 5-7 New York Giants lead the NFC least.
We were fucking. When we started the show, we were giving the Giants so much shit. That's funny as hell. I mean, I guess it's not. It like double
They're
said
still
the
5-7.
NFC least. Yeah, exactly. It's the NFC least, so we can still, I think, continue to shit on them. But what's up with the the New England game is done. That's over. There's no point even talking about
it. It's a
it.
Madden game. They're just airing it out with 6 minutes left to go.
Exactly. It's fucking ridiculous. What's up with the Rams?
Cardinals just scored a touchdown, so they're down 10, but there's only 2 minutes left, and the Rams just got the ball back, so that one is basically over. I'm going to lose that one to Meech, but he lost.
Unless something crazy happens, and we'll recap it, on the next show.
Well, they just scored a touchdown, Arizona did.
That's what I said, 38-28.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But LA gets the ball back with 2 minutes, I don't see anything happening there. You're going to need an onside kick.
Yeah, that's
2 scores.
It's too much of a spread to make up. All right, well, is there
Eagles also look done.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eagles are getting absolutely toasted by Aaron Jones.
What about the Aaron Rodgers? 24 for 33, 290, and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, Hurts looked decent for one possession. I haven't seen much of him since that, but yeah, I mean, I don't think any of us were under the illusion that the Packers wouldn't win this one.
Yeah, exactly.
10 catches for Metcalf last week, 10 for Adams this week. Fucking called it. You guys can't stop shit.
A great call. Like, you went out on a limb there, bud.
Oh, yeah.
Your mom's going out on a limb, bud. Hey-oh, I have no idea what that means, but
what does that even mean?
Exactly.
What does that even mean?
But it sounded good in my head. It sounded really good in my head.
It didn't sound good on air.
Whatever. Go fuck yourself. That's going to do it for us on this episode of Stone Sports. Thanks for listening. We appreciate it. Follow us on all the social media. That's Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Heyo, that's 2 shows in a row I've gotten that right. It's all Stone Sports Podcast. Any last words before we go, boys?
Nope.
Double?
Go Chargers.
God damn it. All right, say goodbye.
Peace.
Lighters.